Hey friend, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, it's the Neverending Haze. Neverending Haze is a 4% IPA from Stone Brewing in Escondido, California. Now this is something a little bit different. This is a bit of a beer of first for Stone. Now this isn't their first hazy, because they had Fear Movie Lions last year, which I also reviewed, but it's a first in that this is the first time they brewed using Kviek yeast, specifically Voss Kviek ale yeast, which is kind of a big deal if you think about it. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Kviek yeast, you might be saying, what are you talking about? But they're Norwegian yeasts that get to work at high temps. We're talking like 90 degrees, 100 degrees and higher, and they do that without creating a whole lot of off flavors, and they can work really fast. Where usual yeasts can take weeks to do their things, Kviek yeasts can ferment in days. And if you think about it, that is massive for brewers. You know, most ale yeasts will be like 70 degrees fermenting. These can go to 90 to 100. It's insane. This is also probably the lowest ABV beer that Stone has ever produced. So with that being said, let's take a look at the label. We'll get it into a glass. Fun fact, you can harvest Kviek yeast by simply scooping foam from an active Kviek fermentation. So that means it replicates super quick. It's very easy to harvest. It's not something that's really hard to come by, but you got to have a starter. You got to have something to start with. So again, let's take a look at the label. On the front of the can, it has this really summery characteristic to it, which is really kind of funny because it's winter just started here, although it doesn't feel like it with all the rain and it hasn't really been too cold. But this is a nice kind of teal colored can. It says Stone across the top, and in this kind of 70s font, it says Neverending Haze IPA. On the bottom, it says Hazy IPA, 4% alcohol by volume. This is a 12 fluid ounce can. It has these circles, has a really kind of 70s reminiscent motif to it. On the back, it says Enjoy Fresh, and you can follow them at Stone Brewing. You can use the hashtag Neverending Haze when you're talking about this, and their website, stonebrewing.com/neverending haze, with all their social media stuff on it. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of the back here. Stone is always really verbose. They use a lot of language and lots of words on here, but I'm going to read this nonetheless. It says, limitless flavor. There's a lot never ending about IPAs around Stone, beginning with Stone IPA being the first and most popular West Coast style IPA on the planet, to our celebrated explorations of double IPAs, session IPAs, fruited IPAs, and ultra fresh triple IPAs, and they're an integral part of our legacy. Plus, there's the off-said, but not actually true, comments from some that all Stone does is IPAs. Yes, we may love them passionately and perpetually be on a quest for IPA nirvana, but this particular one actually happened onto the scene to aid in your noble pursuit of never-ending good times. And I think that kind of says a lot with their 4%. So I'm going to grab an IPA glass here, and I'm going to crack this and get it into the glass. And the date on this is, it was canned on 12/19/19, enjoy by 4/17/20. I enjoy that they have the enjoy by date, which is the expiration date, and they have the can date. Most places do the canned on date. Some places do the expiration date, which I never get, but they do both, which I think is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and crack this one open. And put a nose on the can. It has like a kind of a strong kind of fruity aroma, but I can't really put my finger on what fruit it is. It just has this kind of fruity scent to it. So let's go ahead and pour this. Really kind of blonde out of the can here. And this IPA glass always creates a whole bunch of heads, so that's probably a good thing. We're going to pour it right down the gullet here. Going to slow down a little bit, let the head catch up. That is a whole lot of head, and that is mostly the glass, not necessarily all my pour. Go ahead and turn that label out so you can see it. And as you can see on this IPA glass, whole lots of head, right? I mean, a whole lot, an immeasurable amount of foam. This is probably, I don't know, 4 fingers. It's like my whole hand, but there ain't a whole lot left in here, which is a testament to how you're supposed to pour this beer into this glass, which I think I did a pretty good job. So let's go ahead and hold this up to the light, then I'll put a nose on it. The foam is just in crazy, incredible, like super compact bubbles, really dense foam. And looking at it in the light, that is super hazy. That is like, it's got this dark kind of orangey band up across the top, where it's really heavily held in this glass. On the bottom, it kind of lightens up. Lots of carbonation, like crazy amounts of carbonation streaming up. But I can't see I can see a shadow of my fingers through the top and through the bottom. I can see a little bit better. And there is, it looks like, no, I was going to say there's a little bit of sediment that collected on the bottom of the glass, but I don't think so. So let's go to put a better nose here. Yeah, really fruity, kind of tangerine, orange aromas, maybe a tiny bit of tropical aromas in there too, maybe a little bit of pineapple. Yeah, so picking up a lot of kind of fruity notes, really tropical notes, really kind of what you would expect from a hazy IPA. I know that you can get in trouble by saying hazy and New England style IPAs, but I get kind of a New England kind of vibe out of this, maybe an East Coast IPA kind of vibe out of the aroma, but I'm ready to dive right in. So cheers. Wow, very light mouthfeel, very light flavor. Not a whole lot of flavor in there. Not as much as I was thinking with all this haze in here and all this kind of, the aroma kind of put that it was just going to be this huge, big, upfront, in your face flavor. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. So let's go ahead and dive right in again. It has a bit of a kind of a bitterness on the finish. The whole thing is really kind of the flavor is really kind of muted. I've had a few IPAs that have been low ABV that have had bursting flavor. They've been really flavorful and they've been low ABV, but this one is low ABV. It's about 4%. It has a lot of IPA quality to it. You would never pour this and think like, oh, this is a Budweiser or anything like that. I mean, it tastes like an IPA. It has that IPA kind of characteristic in there, but there isn't a whole lot of bursting flavor. It's kind of, to me, it tastes a little bit bland, actually. What I am picking up on is that there's a little bit, like a really tiny bit of a mango kind of flavor in there. And on the tail end, I get a little bit more of a tropical fruit kind of flavor, but there's not a lot of bitterness to it. There's not a lot of hoppy bitterness to it. There's not a lot of hoppy kind of characteristics to it. It's just kind of has a little, a real little bit of muted fruit flavor. And that's it. It's kind of a one note kind of beer. As you can see, I'm crushing this glass right here, but that's just because I want to try and get as much flavor as I can to kind of maybe pick something else up, but I'm not picking up on a lot. I almost get this I think besides the mango and that little tropical fruit kind of twist in there a little bit, I'm getting a really kind of almost bready characteristic to it as well. It's kind of like crackery, bready, but it's not like sometimes you have a crackery, bready kind of taste in there, and that's like, oh, that really enhances it. But it almost kind of, to me, almost drags the beer down a little bit. Like if it was more of that kind of fruitiness just kind of kicked up a little bit, and I know we're only working with 4% ABV, but maybe kicking up that kind of fruitiness a little bit and pulling out that kind of bready, yeasty kind of flavor, that would really put this higher up. So I got to say I'm a little bit disappointed in this because I was expecting from the aroma specifically that it was going to be just this really kind of flavorful 4% IPA. But on the other hand, if you want to drink you're out drinking and you want to drink a few and you don't want to get just totally shattered, then a 4% IPA, you can do a lot worse than I would take this. I don't know. I would probably take this over a macro lager, but I don't know if this is something that I would go for specifically. It's good to try if it's a hot day and you want to try like a low ABV hazy IPA or you're getting those IPA tastes out of it, then I would go for this. But it's a really specific. There's a really specific kind of thing, activity that I would have to have in mind to drink this. It would be maybe a really nice beer on a hot day, or you kind of want to avoid macro, but there are so many other beers that you could go after that are kind of low ABV. Well, maybe not in the low ABV category. You'd probably have to search a little bit, but I know Dogfish Head has a couple that are low ABV beer with a little bit more taste than this. I would probably skip this one and go after one of those. All right, friends, that has been Neverending Haze from Stone Brewing. Have you had this one yet? What do you think? What do you think about those low ABV beers that they're not non-alcoholic, but they're just low ABV? Would you like to see more lower ABV beers in different styles? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by, and remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.